Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our fifth iteration of our Learning Loft webinars. I'm happy to be here. I cannot believe that we're almost half a year in. I feel like we just started these sessions, so excited to be here. I'm Amanda Seeley, Head of Marketing and Growth for Joist AI. And today we have a really special session. This session was one of those that we'd asked, hey, what do you want to hear about? What can we do for you guys? And what we heard overwhelmingly is just to kind of double down on prompting, but more so specific to Joist AI, where we've had Chris Pinn, we've had Kristen Couts kind of go through more high level information, but now we really want to dig into prompting for the Joist AI platform. So a few housekeeping notes for today. We have both the chat as well as the Q&A open. So definitely feel free to use chat, engage with one another, engage with us. We will do our darndest to make sure that we answer any questions. If you have questions about the product specifically, or am I echoing, team? Am I echoing? Well, I'm almost done. I'm going to pass it over to Haley and Hiroko here real quick. But just if you guys have high level questions, myself and then Adrian, who's in the background here, will be answering those questions. But if you have questions specific for Haley and Hiroko as they're going through their presentation, we'll make sure to get those answered in a timely fashion. As well as like the Q&A. So if you have more of a formal question that kind of saves and doesn't get buried in the chat, go ahead and throw those in Q&A. This is going to be recorded. We will send this out as well. And one thing I will put into chat is we're actually starting to host these past recordings on our YouTube channel. So now they are kind of on demand for you to have in case you have a teammate that wasn't able to make it today or what have you. We want to make sure that we get those over to you. Without further ado, though, I want to make sure that I'm passing it over to both Haley and Hiroko. So, ladies, take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Uh, if I haven't met all of you, my name is Hiroko Shirokata. I'm a customer success manager here, along with Haley. Haley, you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Yeah, for those of you who I have not met, I lead our customer success team here. My background is in the industry as well. So I spent about 8 years as a structural engineer and have been in the construction tech space for the last 5 or 6. So nice to meet any of you who I have not met yet.
Awesome. So I will get us started with our prompt jam. Thank you so much. This was one of the most highly requested webinars to host, so we're very excited to bring this to you today. Please feel free to give us any suggestions on other webinars that you may want to see during our or for our Learning Loft series. We love feedback, as you all have heard us before. So if you have any great ideas on what will help enable you within Joist, within your AI experience, please let us know. Reach out to your customer success manager, reach out to our support or our help desk within the app, and give us some suggestions. We are always ready with open ears. I also wanted to thank everyone for taking time of your very, very busy schedules to spend an hour with us as well. We know that as things are starting to wrap up, given Thanksgiving is next week, your time is very, very precious. So we are really happy that you are here with us, and we're very, very grateful as well. So I'll get started real quick with our agenda today. Today, what I'll start with is doing a prompt framework. So I will go through some prompt frameworks and introduce those to you. I'll also discuss our Joist prompt library. Now, this may be a reintroduction. This might be an introduction for some of you. So I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that we have this feature within our tool for you. And then this is where we'll start getting into the jamming part of our prompt jam. So we'll do some examples, live examples, always really fun or scary. But I'll start with the first example. What we'll do is I'll teach you how to create a template using prompts from a document that you may already have so that you can templatize that to help generate your content. We'll also show you not only how to generate that prompt, but also how to put it inside of your prompt library. And the second example will generate a prompt to use using the clarifying questions. So the ones in purple, CFFA, prompt generation and refinement, and also clarifying questions are part of the frameworks that I'll discuss at the beginning of our webinar. And then I'll hand it over to Haley, and she'll go through improving some common prompts for a live session as well. She will also go through how you can host your own prompt jam internally with your marketing team or your internal teammates that is currently using Joist. And then at the end, we will obviously have a Q&A session, but we'll also have some fun announcements regarding a prompt update, prompt library update, and also monthly office hours. All right, so we'll get started. Okay, so prompting. If you don't know what prompting is, just a little background. I'm sure you're here because you do have an idea of what it is, but it's basically when you're interacting with chat and asking questions, either to help extract information or generate information from your chat within Joist AI. One of the things that we have discovered, and I also want to give a shout out to our teammate Adrian, who has been building out a lot of our prompts within our prompt library. You'll see there's been some updates on the 14th, so just a few days ago. But what I wanted to do is go through some of the prompt frameworks. Basically, what you'll see is you'll see some of these structured methods. You may have heard about them outside of Joist. You may have heard about them within Joist if you've had a prompt jam already. Basically, what this does, it gives you a framework on how to write prompts to elicit really great content for you. So I will show, I think there's about 9 or 10 that I'll show you. We'll have embedded inside of our slide deck, but I'm not going to go through all of the details. Otherwise, I may lose some of you. But we'll just get started with the first one. So CFFA, and you'll see most of these are going to be acronyms. So CFFA actually is one of the ones that we commonly use when we've hosted prompt jams in the past. CFFA is for context, function, format, and audience. And what you'll see is any of the ones that we will show throughout the webinar today will have a little star at the top. So if you think about context, when you start writing your prompt for generating within the chat, think about the context. What is the background? What do you need to know? And start thinking about context or adding context for the prompt itself. Then what you want to think about is F, function. What do you want the chat to do? What do you want AI to do? Be very specific, be very intentional on how you want to ask and what you want it to do. With format, what do you want it to look like? How do you want the response to generate? Do you want it in a paragraph form? Do you want bullet points? Do you want it in a table? Be very, very specific about how you want the format or the output to be. And also think about the audience. So who are you generating this content for? And then you'll be able to start thinking about, these are some of the steps that I want to do when generating a prompt. Now, some of us are just writing, and I do this famously, writing a single sentence prompt. But what we want you to do is we want to enable you to ask more and more purposeful, meaningful, intentional prompts so that you get the answer or you start generating content and better content by asking and adding all of these instructions within the prompt itself. I'm going to maybe run through the rest of these. You'll see there's some very, very common letters that you'll see within these frameworks. RTF, role, task, format. What role do you want, what task do you want, and what format do you want it in? So as you start thinking about a lot of these acronyms, maybe some of them are a lot easier to remember, but you'll be able to see that there's some commonalities within all of these framework. What I encourage you to do, take a look at it, test all of them out, see what types of frameworks elicit better content for specific tasks that you may be doing. So test them all out. Think about all of the things that you want to generate, extract by using all of these frameworks that we'll be showing you today. Risen, lots of R's, role, instruction, steps, the end goal, and also this adds narrowing. So you're going to give it some constraints. Roads, the role, objective, details, examples, and also a sense check. So now you're asking AI for a little bit of a gut check within that as well. Again, RTTCO, role, task, context, constraints, and also the output. Think about all of these things as you are generating that prompt. Co-star, context, objective, style. Now you've got style in it, tone, audience, and also a response. So with all of those, what we're going to do is we're definitely going to be giving you this deck at the end of the presentation so you can have these available for you. Have it open on one side, start testing it out when you're starting to jump into chat and practicing some of these prompts. Now, the last section that I wanted to go through are clarifying questions, chain of thought, and also prompt refinement or prompt generation and refinement. Two of these I will be covering during our live demo. So for clarifying questions, this is an interactive prompt. So this one I actually learned from Chris Penn during one of the SMPS AI events, and it actually blew my mind when I saw him do it because I didn't even know that this was possible. So clarifying questions is when you are interacting with chat and asking it if you for additional questions. So this is something that I want. Please ask me questions, and I'm asking this of AI. Please ask me any clarifying questions that you have to help generate the response that I would like. So this is now an interactive conversation that you are having with AI to generate a prompt. This is one that I will be doing a live demo on. Really excited to share this with you. Chain of thought. So what this is doing is it is using reasoning within AI to go through a problem step by step. So think about how they are, let's think about it step by step, and then also another interaction where you're interacting with AI to generate this as well. And then the last one that I'll be covering is generate a prompt by using AI. So instead of thinking, how am I going to write this prompt? How am I going to ask this prompt? Have AI generate a prompt or template. So take advantage of using chat, treat it like an intern, as we always say. So we can allow chat to now answer and create a prompt for you. Okay. Now it's time for our very, very first poll. So we want you to take some time and answer 3 questions for our first poll of the day. One is, have you used the prompt library within chat? Yes or no? There's no wrong answers, by the way. Has your company added prompts in your prompt library? Yes, no, I don't know. And also, which of these documents can you templatize generating content from by adding a prompt in your prompt library? Could be a cover letter, project sheets, resume, or all of the above and more. So take some time. I should have gotten some music for this section. Sorry, Haley.
Okay, I'm watching the poll keep going. Thanks everyone for answering. This is great.
Is everyone answering?
Yes.
Awesome.
Give it maybe 10 more seconds here and then I'll
Okay.
poll.
Ladies, while you're finishing up the poll, we had a question
Yes.
come in. Do any of these require deep search? The deep search functionality within Joist AI.
So to ask prompt or to create a prompt?
I think any of the examples that we'll run through.
I won't be using deep search for any of the examples that I will be running through.
Yeah, I would say, and I can touch on this too when I get to my examples of where I would suggest using deep search on your end, but I'd say none of them require it, but depends on the amount of data you're trying to sift through, the question you're asking, so we can give a little bit of guidance on that as well. That's a great question.
Any other questions come through while we're waiting for a poll?
Clarifying question. Do you suggest to limit to 5 instead of ask me as many questions as AI attempts to attain perfection and can trend to extend the Q&A session in perpetuity?
Yeah, so you can limit it. I am, and we could test it. I haven't been limiting it, but yes, you can definitely limit the responses or the questions that you want. You get to be the boss of AI, so you can tell it what to do.
And then we'll have a
Awesome.
segue question. Where do we find the prompt library within Joist AI? We will go into that.
We're gonna go into that next. Awesome. Okay, so let's see. This is our first poll, so forgive us a little bit. Do you see the poll results here, or can you see them on your own screen? We're good. Okay. So for poll number 1, have you used prompt library within chat? 28% says yes, and 72% says no. Now, this may change after today, so this is very exciting. Has your company added prompts in your prompt library? Yes, 37%, no, 25%, and I don't know is 38%. Awesome. And then which of these documents can you templatize generating content from by adding a prompt in your library? Cover letter 15%, project sheets 6%, resume 3%, and all of the above and more 76%. Perfect. Okay, this is very exciting because of the I don't knows and knows. And that means that what we've generated or what we're going to show you today will be very impactful. So great. Okay, success. We did our first poll. Okay. Um, all right. So jumping into the prompt library, which is a perfect segue here. So within Joist, what we have is a prompt library. You will be able to enable this within chat, and I'll walk through the prompt library functionality with you today. So what this allows you to do in terms of why we've put this in here is we allow you to create, and you also have the ability to manage specific prompts for your company. Now, the creation and the management of the prompt library is an admin role. So what I encourage you to do, maybe perhaps after you guys host your own prompt jam session in the next few months, fingers crossed, that you'll be able to generate some prompts that you want to share with the admin, and they will be able to embed that inside of your prompt library. Now, following this, obviously, if there's any questions about how to get that organized and set up, please reach out to your customer success manager or within our support section within the help in-app as well. With the prompt library, this also allows you to create a prompt that you can use as a template that either generates or extracts content. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to keep this, to templatize it, and then now you can start extracting and generating content in a more consistent way throughout the organization. Where this could be very impactful, and I'll walk through it today, is it within workspaces. So you can use the prompts in your prompt library within the subsections in your workspaces. Also, with the shared functionality, this allows you to share prompts that you create and share prompts within your Joist system that will help other teammates of yours. Maybe you have been perfecting some prompts, or maybe you've realized that you've been generating the same type of content or extracting the same type of content, and you've now started to have your own prompts, sometimes on a piece of paper that you're saving for yourself that you keep opening up and using. Perhaps this is a perfect opportunity for you to share this with, if you have an admin role, put it in your prompt library or share it with your admins so that they can now push that through as well. With practical applications with these prompts that you are saving in here, it allows you again to maintain consistency. It also helps you generate specific types of responses or extract specific types of things. So it just allows you to templatize instead of having to rewrite, and adjust prompts as you're doing this. This will save your team, yourself, a lot of time as you're starting to generate and extract content. Awesome. Okay, so let's jam. All right, I'm going to jump out of the slide deck and I'm going to go into Joist. Perfect. All right, we've had a lot of fun with the creative side of this, as in stealing a lot of images off of Google. So, all right. So what I want to do today is I want to show you where to enable the saved prompts, the prompt library. Where you can find the prompts, the saved prompts, your prompt library is within chat. Now, obviously you have chat on the left-hand side of the navigation panel, but you also have it on the right side as well. And obviously when you are inside of a file or one of our tools, you'll see the star at the top of the screen on the right-hand side where you can chat with the file automatically. I'm going to open up chat here and I will expand it. So where you can find your prompt library is within the chat section itself. You'll see this little tiny icon, little books, one leaned over, called prompt library. So what you can do is open this up, and this is where you'll be able to answer the poll question number 2. So when you open up your prompt library, you will see the shared prompts. The shared prompts within the library are the ones that your company has added into the prompt library. Now, for some of you, they may be empty, but hopefully in the next few weeks, you can start filling them up. Also, what you may not know is Joist has provided you a ton of prompts as well. So this is enabled for every single user within Joist. You have the ability to use preloaded prompts that have been created for you. Now, I did mention that we have just updated these prompts. So if you saw them during an onboarding or you saw them during a training a while ago, what you can do is go back and see there's been a lot of updates within this as well. Again, if you have any suggestions on what we can provide for you as well within the prompt library or the Joist enabled ones, please let us know and give us those suggestions. So what you'll see with the Joist prompts is that you'll be able to use any of these preloaded prompts. You can click on it and see what the prompt is. You can also see that they've been categorized by tags here as well. So you have a category, and then you can also allow subcategories of specific prompts. So feel free to start testing the ones out. Maybe you'll be inspired by some of the ones that Joist has already preloaded for you. You can copy, you can iterate off of them, and then add them to your shared prompts as well. So this is where you're going to engage with your prompt library. Now we know the answer to question or poll question number 1. Perfect. Okay. So today for our first example, what I'm going to do is I am going to generate a prompt that will, I'll generate a prompt that will then I can store within my prompt library that will generate a cover letter. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a cover letter that I already use, perhaps one that you really like. It could be any type of document that you want to templatize so that AI can help generate this based upon your company's messaging, brand message, anything that you want to specify when it is extracting or generating a cover letter for you. So with this, what I'm going to do is I will cover the CFFA, the very first framework, which is context, function, format, and audience. And I have a preloaded prompt that I will copy and paste in here. So I'm a proposal writer that wants you to generate a prompt that will generate a cover letter like the one that I've attached. This is our standard cover letter format. I want the prompt to extract the tone, structure, and strategic vision of our company that we can reuse in each cover letter when the prompt is attached to an RFP. So basically what this is going to do is when I use this prompt, attach it to an RFP, it will generate a cover letter automatically. With the context, make it flexible enough so that I can cover different types of pursuits, and our audience is a potential client. Generate this prompt. So now what I'm going to do is I'm making AI generate a prompt for me. What I'll do is I'll attach a file, and I'll also show you one of the new functions that we have within our attachment in chat. If you have added previous files within chat, you have access to them with this new function, chat uploads. Now, as you may imagine, I've been practicing a little bit, so I have this already added, attach, and now send. Okay. So based on this cover letter document, here's a comprehensive prompt that captures Dunder Mifflin's tone, structure, and strategic vision. So as you can see, this is a pretty heavy prompt. This might be the biggest prompt that you've ever seen, but this is something that will actually work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to now test it out. So by testing it out, and I encourage you to do this as well, what I'm going to do is add it into the prompt library under settings, and then we're going to test it out against specific RFPs. So what I'll do is just quickly copy and paste this. Go into the settings. Again, if you do not have the settings tab, please reach out to your admin so that they can add this for you. I'm going to create a new prompt. I'm just going to copy and paste this inside of the prompt, and then I'm going to give a description here so that all of the users will know what to do with it. So attach to RFP to generate cover letter, and then I can title this cover letter demo. This is where I can add those tags to now bucket or categorize them within the prompt library as well. So I'll just create the prompt. And now it lives within the shared prompt library. What I'm going to do is this is where you get to start testing it out. So I'm going to go into our tools section and I'm going to narrow it down to some RFPs within this. I am going to now test this against an RFP that I'm working on. I'm going to chat with this specific file. I'm going to, actually, let's do a new chat, attach this. And now I'm going to use the prompt within the prompt library. Oops. Hold on one second. Let's do that again. Use prompt. And now I'm going to press send. So as this is generating content, just a couple tips here. A couple times that I've done this for a customer, I have realized within the prompt that the cover letter I was using was for a municipal project that they had given me. As I was starting to test it out, the first one, RFP, it actually was a municipal project, so it tested out really well. But I then tested out on a different type of project, and that's where I found out within the generation that it said it doesn't have any municipal projects to refer to. And that's when I knew that I need to go back into the prompt, read the prompt thoroughly, and see what I needed to adjust, make a couple edits, resave it, and then continue to test with RFPs. So just to let you know, this is how I can now generate. If let's say I read through this, I love this prompt, I'm going to go back and start testing it on other RFPs. Once I feel comfortable with it, then keep it saved in there as well. Okay. I'm seeing that I'm already running up against time. So let's go into the next example. So I'm going to start a new chat here. And this is where I'm going to use the clarifying questions framework for this particular task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask AI to generate a prompt, write a prompt that a marketing communications team member can use that will create a project sheet based upon a project that we worked on. Ask me any questions that will help generate a great prompt. So now they are taking my prompt. AI is going to ask me some clarifying questions before they actually write the prompt to give to me. So what I can do is now they're asking some questions here. To create an effective prompt for generating project sheets, I need to understand a few key aspects. So I'm going to answer these. And by answering these, I don't want to hit return. I want to hit shift return if I want to start doing this. But you know what? I'm just going to add one. They should search by project name. Two, what type of format? Include all of the suggested elements within the project sheet. Suggested elements, I'll be more specific above within the project. 3, the target audience. This is where you could say all of the above. You could say, you know what, you could be a little more specific. I'm going to say this is going to be for marketing materials and brochures. And then what you can do is generate a prompt, be very specific in the naming of the prompt as well, if it is specific to a target audience. For the length, I will say a full page summary. And then for 5, I want this to be technical and detailed. So now I'm going to respond to the questions that they have, and they will now generate a prompt for me. Okay, so again, go into your chat settings. I'm going to copy and paste this. And I'm actually going to, instead of using this, I'm going to show you one of the tools that we have inside of our chat settings. Here, create a new prompt. I'm going to add the prompt. Project sheet. Sheet. And then I'm going to use a variable. So I am going to just copy and paste this here because I don't have for, oops. I'm going to actually say project A. And what this will allow a user to do is once it's saved, I'll show you here, create the prompt. I'll go into the chat, create a new chat because we all know new task, new chat. And I'm going to go back into the library, click on the project sheet prompt. And now what you'll see is this little fill in. I'm going to fill this in with the project name, SFC International Center. And now I can test this. Oops, I made a mistake within the prompt. Okay, so this one I'll go back in and I'll regenerate. I'll go back in to this chat settings.
It's at the top there, on that same line. At the end, it says insert project name.
Oh, there it is. Sorry,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're good.
I put it in the wrong place.
That's why testing the prompts is important too.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. To create. Okay, perfect. Update prompts. Go back. And I'm just going to start a new chat. Do that again. You saw something that I didn't. Thank you, Haley. SFC International Center. Knowing that this information is within Joist. Okay, now it's generating. Perfect. So go back inside. If the prompt isn't generating the context, if you don't want it in bullet points, you want to put it in paragraph 4, be very specific in the prompt. And then edit, save it, test it, and keep doing that, iterating off of it until you find a prompt that you are really happy with. And then now you can share it with your teammates. All right, so I have completed. I'm so sorry I took so much time, but I'm going to pass the ball over to you, Haley, and you can keep going. I'll
Oh,
stop the share.
okay. All right. Okay, so switching gears a little bit here, away from saving to the prompt library, I want to talk about how we can improve some common prompts. So taking prompts that are maybe pretty good, maybe a little weak, and how do we make them great? So over the last year or so of onboarding teams here on the customer success side, we have seen some common, don't want to say mistakes, but items or prompting that could be better and ultimately make that output more useful. So I'm going to start with one example. So a pretty common use case for Joist is generating narratives to include in a proposal. So I'm going to start with a pretty general question, but I'm going to say, I need a narrative on how we approach historic renovation projects. Okay, so this prompt itself is not terrible. It's giving some context of what I need. I need it to be a narrative. I'm asking for approach on historic renovation projects. I know we've written about this hundreds of times before, so I'm just trying to gather some information that I can work with. So initially, I'm going to get out here a pretty robust response. So I'm reading through this and thinking, this is great. This is a lot of information, but this is actually not exactly what I was looking for. And I need to ask it to rewrite. So one common thing I see is someone coming here and saying, okay, I don't like this. I'm just going to say rewrite or try again. So I'm going to ask a poll question here. Let me see if I can do this at the same time. Okay. So why do we think that prompt to rewrite this is a weak prompt? Is it a lack of audience, no direction, it's too vague, where's the detail, or is it all of the above? So I'll give everyone a few seconds here. Okay, it looks like most of you are answering with all of the above, which is correct. So I really didn't give it anything to go off of. I just said, rewrite this. That's way too vague. I'm not giving it any input. I'm not telling it what I want it to look like. So again, AI is not a mind reader. You do have to give it specific instructions. So now I want to try this together. So haven't done this before in a webinar format, so we'll see how this goes. But I want us to rewrite this prompt together. So now that I'm asking it to rewrite, the first thing I want to do is give it an audience. So in the webinar chat, can all of you please give some examples of an audience that this could be written for? Don't all go at once. City council.
Alyssa says
Pick
city
one.
council members.
And
Kelly says to an owner for a proposal, economic development director, board of directors, selection team, C-suite stakeholders. I love these.
these are great. I love that. City's Historic Preservation Office. That's very specific. I love that.
Oh, I
Okay.
love board of a church with a deteriorating church that needs to be fixed.
Also very specific. I love that.
Yeah.
These are all really great. Yeah. President of the United States,
Ah.
Director of Facilities. These are great. Okay. So I'm going to, let's see where, I'm going to pick this city's historic preservation office. Shout out to Ron. Thank you for that one. But these are all great. Okay, so now to improve this further, I want to give it some instructions on tone. So again, can I get some examples of what type of tone I can give this response? Yeah, professional, friendly, persuasive. I like that one. Formal but not stuffy. That's also a great idea. Trustworthy, natural, non-robotic. I do like that. Got to remind AI to sometimes sound more human. Formal, knowledgeable.
Midwestern.
These
I love that.
are great. Okay, I'm gonna pick a couple of these. So I'm gonna add in let's try trustworthy. I like compelling. I'm gonna say I like and formal but not stuffy tone. These are all great. Yeah, confident is another good one. Okay, so this is already a lot better. I've given it an audience, I've given it a tone. Now I'm going to give it a little bit more instructions on the output itself. So I'm going to say, this was great, but it's way too long. So I'm going to say keep it under 300 words. And although I do like these headings, it's nice. I actually need this to be in paragraph form. So I'm going to say, and in paragraph form. So another tip I like to suggest is make sure you tell it what to focus on. I know that's part of that CFFA framework, but if you think about this, with chat, you're interacting with your entire Joist database. So giving it a focus is really important, especially for something like a narrative where you know you've written it a bunch of times. So what about what you're writing is unique? What do you want it to focus on? What's most important to whoever you're writing this for? So I'm going to say, make sure to highlight client value. And another tip is you can also tell chat what not to do. So I always like to say, don't use jargon, don't use passive voice. And that list can be very long. I highly recommend really playing around with telling chat what not to do, as well as giving it more specifics on how you want it to write. Okay. So this is a much stronger prompt. I've given it an audience. I've given it what I want the output to look like. I've given it some parameters of what I don't want it to do, what I want it to sound like. So now this is much closer to what I actually can use in this proposal narrative. So from here, of course, this is still AI. So I'm going to check everything, check my references, make sure it all looks correct. But this is a much better starting place for me to use this narrative. Okay. So I'm going to move on to another example. I'm going to start a new chat here. Okay,
Hey,
so
real quick while you're pulling this up, so Madeline had a good question. So if you
mhm,
already have your voices established in the library, and
mhm.
you're telling it to sound a specific way and to have a voice, will it override it?
That is a good question. So most of the time it probably will override it if you're asking it in chat. It depends on how specific you have your prompt in your voice. So you can add custom instructions in your voice settings. So at some point, if those are too complex, and then what you're telling chat here is also too complex, it's going to get confused. So keeping it somewhat simple in that sense is what I'd recommend. But that's something again to play around with, and maybe we can bring up in another webinar session is how to tune that voice and how to override it where it makes sense, where it can get confused. But that's a great question. And then yeah, the M dash, you can also put that in your custom voice. You can add that in the instructions to avoid the M dash. Again, you're talking to a language model, so sometimes it's not going to listen to every instruction, but that should get you again kind of that 90% of the way there. Okay. So I'm going to go through this one pretty quickly because we are coming up on time and we have some announcements. But I did want to just show this as an example for what I think is a pretty useful output. So one common thing we see people use Joist for is research on past project history. So I'm going to ask here, what's our project experience with University of Florida. So let's say I've got a project proposal with University of Florida coming up. I am new to the company. I haven't worked with this client before. I'm just trying to get an idea of what we've done and what's important about those projects. So my first output here is this is in list form. And this is again not bad. This is giving me a good list, kind of a high level overview. I again didn't give it any specific instructions, but this honestly is a lot for me to try to comprehend. So I'm going to ask, let's put this in a table. Okay. So put this in a table is a pretty common prompt that we see. Again, not a bad prompt because you're giving it instructions on what you want the output to be. But again, we can improve this prompt. So I'm going to launch another poll here. And here's our options. So how can we improve this prompt, put it in a table? Number one, it's not a toddler doing a craft project. Give it more information. Number two, it's actually perfect as it is. Don't touch it, Haley. Number three, there's no point in trying, just start over. So scrapping the whole thing. I appreciate some of you saying it's perfect as it is, but it looks like most of you have selected option A. Yes, it's not a toddler doing a craft project. We can give it more information. Um, AI is treat it like an adult. We say it's an intern, but it is an adult intern. So we can give it more language. Thank you all for your participation on that one. Okay, so I am going to, and this is another tip. So I, this was my initial prompt. I actually can go back and just edit this prompt if I want to. So I can click on that edit message here, and I'm just going to give it a little bit more instructions. I do think it's helpful, even though this was a simple prompt, I saw what output it gave me, and now I have a good starting point for, okay, this is not exactly what I want. I'm going to come back in here and give it a little bit more detail. So I'm going to say, put this into a table with the following columns. So now I'm going to ask specifically for what I want to see. I'm going to say project type, value, square footage, description. I'm going to give it some parameters there and say no more than 2 sentences. I'm going to actually ask it for keywords because again, I'm just getting started here. I want to understand high level what are some important points about these projects. So I'm going to say pick words that speak to anything unique or special about the project, and date. So I'm going to hit save, and then that's going to regenerate my table here. So again, I'm using Joist to do research. This is referencing all of my past proposals or project sheets or whatever else is in my system. But now that it's in this table view, this is a lot easier for me to go through and double check the information. I can check this against our CRM or our source of truth. I can take this to the project managers or project principals and ask them high level, can you review this information? Does it look correct? So this is a really useful output and definitely encourage trying to use Joist for tables and give it some specific instructions on what you're looking for here. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go back over to our slide deck so we can go through these last couple of points. So hopefully that was helpful. You got some ideas of what to use chat for. Obviously, we're just scratching the surface here. We only have an hour to go through these examples, but I'm sure you all can come up with much more creative ideas than we can. So I do highly recommend that you host your own prompt jam. You can always reach out to your customer success manager and we can help you host this. But if you do have someone internally who is really great at prompting, who wants to take this on, I recommend starting with someone internally, identify a leader or a champion. Step two would be data gathering. So ahead of that prompt jam, just get some information from your team on what they're using Joist for, what they wish they could use Joist for. What are the types of things you're writing every day? Pretty much anything that you write every day is something that you can use Joist to help you do faster or do better research on or aggregate all that information quicker. Step three, pick a framework. So I like doing the going from good, better to best. So I kind of did some good to great examples or good to better. I think you could even go beyond that and do a prompt like what Hiroko showed that's really long. So don't be afraid of those long, context-rich prompts. And then try that document-based prompt exercise. So anything that you have templatized or you would like to have templatized is a good working session to do together. And also the ask me questions pattern. And so when you do your own prompt, Jan, I also recommend having an action plan to close this out. So have a couple of prompts that you agree you add to your shared prompt library. This doesn't have to be totally finished, just get something in there and then you all can come back together if there's edits you want to make to that prompt, but just again, as a place to get started. And then every participant should walk away feeling a little bit better about prompting, some new ideas of what they can use it every day for, and maybe some of their own new favorite prompts. And we'll send this guide as well, this how to host your own prompt jam guide. We'll send that out after the webinar with the recording and the slides. So a couple of quick updates and announcements. So, coming soon. This has been highly requested, but we are launching My Prompts. So that means that you actually do not need to be an admin to save a prompt within Joist. So now you can save a prompt that you like if you've worked on it, really perfected that prompt. It's something that you do all the time. You can actually create a prompt and save it to your My Prompts library. So again, there'll be a new tab on that prompt library called My Prompts. And we are launching this at some time in December in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be in our next product update email. So I am very excited about this one as well. And our last exciting announcement, we are launching what we're calling office hours. So we're doing a monthly drop-in office hour session. Our first one will be Wednesday, December 3rd at 9 a.m. Pacific. And this is a place where anybody can join. All Joist AI users are welcome. We encourage new users, anyone who needs a refresh, maybe you haven't touched Joist in a couple of months, come back to this drop-in session. We will run through high level how to go through our typical workflow, and then we will also focus on a different feature each month. So in December, we'll run through some ideas for custom templates in Joist. And we, again, will host this every month. This will be our first month. So please, we'll send a sign up link again after this webinar. We'll pin it in our help menu as well, so you can sign up there. But we're looking for feedback on this. This is another great way to hear questions from other Joist AI users, have some community, and so we can all learn from each other. And with that, we actually only have a couple of minutes left. Oh, one last thing, reminder. So best ways to set up your Joist AI platform. So we talked about the prompt library today. There are other items here to make sure are set up correct. So review your tag center, review your voice, custom templates, knowledge content, and style guide. And again, if you want us to talk about any of these in upcoming webinars, we love to hear feedback on that as well. But yes, these are things to review with your admin team, review with your CSM, make sure they're all set up well. So I don't think we have any more time for Q&A, unfortunately, but you can always reach out to us, again, with the help menu, reach out to your CSM, myself or Hiroko. We're always happy to answer questions. And with that,
well, that's all, folks. That's my line. Never mind, babe. Let a star do this. That's all.
Can I go home now?
Hopefully we just made some 90s babies really happy today. Everyone, we want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to join us for today's prompt jam. If this is the direction you'd like us to see, you want to see more of these in future months, definitely let us know. If there's any prompts specifically or workflows you'd like to go over, absolutely let us know. Haley, Hiroko, on your customer success calls, let your team know.
And Eric and Adrian as well. And we do have some new CSMs that we have joined our team as well.
And I've dropped it into chat here, but we'll also send out to everybody that was here with us today. So as Haley and Hiroko mentioned, we're going to have our first office hours coming up. This is a test run. So again, we're going to learn from this, but again, encourage you to come in. We'll talk about latest updates, what questions you have, challenges you have, workflows we're seeing. You can collaborate with one another. I think somebody asked a question, is it registration or drop in? For now, registration, that might change. We just kind of want to feel it out for the first couple sessions, and then we might open it up. Next month's Learning Loft webinar is going to be AI wrapped, so kind of a play on Spotify. So the best of 2025 with AI. And then in January, we'll talk about kind of where Joist AI is heading in 2026 and kind of a nice little look back. We will get the slides, recording, the shared prompts, how to do your own prompt jam. We have a lot coming, so we'll get that out to you via email, so look for that. But again, just wanted to thank everybody for taking time today to join us. We really appreciate it. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
have a good week.